This one's for the parents, the collectors with kids, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, and yes, the babysitters. These are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. And if you've been alive at any point in the last 40 years, or at least been around kids, or maybe been a kid yourself, you've probably seen some version of these four brothers, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. So what does this video have to do with family fun and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, besides the obvious fact that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pretty much equal family fun? Well, I'm a pop culture fan who loves getting figures of pop culture characters and taking photos of them. And I enjoy it when I get that chance to share that knowledge with others. Especially when we're starting in on those summer months when the kids are bored. So we're gonna start this toy photography how-to by posing Michelangelo, then lighting up Raphael, then taking a photo of all four of the boys with the smartphone. I'd hold up mine to show it to you so you could get a good example of what a smartphone looks like. But I'm actually recording this video with it. And finally, show you how to edit in your smartphone until you're happy with your ultra cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or as those in the know like to say, TMNT, shot. Now the reason I chose these particular turtle figures is because they're still readily available. You can find them at Target. You can still find them at Walmart. You can find them at the Amazon affiliate links in the video description below. So, consume, dear consumer. So now, in an effort to help you maintain your sanity by hopefully alleviating the kids' summer boredom, and perhaps even helping you and them find a fun, creative outlet yourselves, let's get started. And cowabunga. Now these are tiny figures. You're not gonna get tons of movement out of them like you might with a more costly figure. But these little guys provide quite a bit more than they look like they can, which is where all the fun's at. Now obviously we could leave them totally posed static-like, just like that. Oh, but where's the fun in that? So instead, we just grab Mikey and we figure out what all he can do. He's on a little ball joint up top, so you can do these things with his neck. Now, when you're taking photos of figures, something that really adds a lot to the shot is if you just are able to do that a little bit with their head instead of having their head straight on. It's a little more attitude, a little more, huh? What's going on? What are you guys doing? It's good stuff. Mikey can get plenty high with his shoulders there. He can bend that much at the elbow. And at the elbow, he can also do this little twist motion, which is kind of cool. And you can spin his wrist. And the reason I'm showing you all of this is so you'll know what all you can mess with when it comes to posing your turtles. Now you can see on Mikey's upper leg there, that little cut. What that'll allow him to do is kick forward, which is pretty good. And then while I've got him there, we can do that with his leg, so that's a decent bend. And we can also spin up here at the thigh, and we can spin down here at the knee. And then the foot allows some spin as well. And of course, nunchucks. So armed with all that knowledge, let's see what we can do for Mikey. Gonna bring his arm back a bit, which I'm kind of limited by just because that's a hard plastic shell. But try, let's see what I can get. Just a touch. Maybe bring this arm out a little bit, because what I'm gonna want him to do is hold his nunchuck. Get this arm out front. He's facing this way. Oh man, there's gonna be a little Mikey throwdown, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along. And usually what happens is if you're in some kind of stance, you might just be in sort of a wide-legged kind of stance. But I like to add a little bit of walking and running motion. So what's going to happen is because this arm is up front, this leg would be heading towards wherever Mikey's going. It can be dramatic and you can really crank it like that, like he's running, or it can be a lot more subtle. More like that, like he's walking. And it's Mikey, so he's not in a hurry. I'm going to just make him walk. So he's walking towards something, no big deal. And because of the way the joints are done, you can kind of just mess around a little bit at the waist. All right, so I've got Mikey just like that. And now what I want to do, because it's Mikey, I've got to add the chucks, right? There's one chuck. And there's nunchuck. Now, to me, that just looks wrong because it's not on a string. Obviously, kid's toy. It's allowed to not be on a string. So I like to turn them in so they're a little more like that. Just looks a little better to me like that. Your mileage may vary. This is where the artistic side of things happen. So there is just a really simple pose with Michelangelo. He's the best turtle, let's be honest. But if you disagree, comment below and let me know who your favorite turtle is. Mikey is the party dude and definitely my favorite turtle. Now, using the lesson that we learned from Mikey when it comes to posing, well, I posed up Raph. Now, here's the way I set up some lights, and there will be a tutorial to a simple 3-light setup in the video description, so if what I say here gets a little thrown off and you're thinking, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, be sure to check that description, click on that link. I think I'm much more concise. I was in full-on teacher mode there. So, here's what we've got here. This is an LED light I've got. You could probably use any regular old desk lamp. That's the mic. But that's an LED where I can adjust the brightness. It's a panel light. I got a set of those for, I believe it was between 30 and 40 bucks. There were 3 of them. They all have gels. I'll link to that in the description as well. So that's the key light. That's where most of the light's going to come from. This is a backlight, and what that is it's an app called the Best Night Light that I put on my iPhone, or my iPad. It's on my iPhone as well. That's lighting up the back of Raph to give him kind of a nice little outline on that side. And then I'm using this reflector, which you could use a piece of aluminum foil over something flat to get the same effect. Or you could pick up the one that I'll link to in the video description, but they're not really that pricey. And the ones that I do have in the description, like I could also make this white and gold and all kinds of good colors. So I'm using that as the fill light. And what the fill light does is it takes the key light and fills in the shadows that are produced. So if I were to lift this up, if I were to take this away, you notice there's less light over there. Now if I put it back, okay, it's filling in some of that light that the key light is missing ever so slightly. So that's pretty much a simple 3-light setup, like I said. Check the video description, and you'll get me explaining it in better detail. Now, let's shoot the boys. Raph's an angry guy, so I figured it was a natural to try and lighten him up a bit. Yeah, if you're a new subscriber to the channel, you're going to discover there's bad puns ahoy. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's the boys before the shot. All good and posed up. We have the key light right here. The iPad with the Best Night Light right there, that app. And then I have them backlit with another LED over there. So there's your lighting, there's your posing, and there's the boys. I'm going to take the shot, and then I'll get chatting while I'm doing the editing and showing all of you how to do the whole editing thing with your smartphone. Here we go. If you're digging this video and genuinely think this is something you and the kids could enjoy, I'll make sure to leave the entire Toypixx toy photography tutorials, that's right, I did that in one take, playlist at the end of this video. I think I keep it pretty PG, at least 80s PG, though I hear that's kind of different from today's PG. Huh, And now it's voiceover time. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to crop it. So I click the crop button, and now I just drag in the lines with my fingers. Now Don's bow is on the right, and I always want to make sure to even things out a little bit so that the picture stays balanced. So Mikey's got a little more black on his side than I would normally do because of the bow. So we've got that going. Now, messing with the aperture, since I took the shot in portrait mode, some of the stuff was a little blurrier than I'd like, so I wanted to change that up with that button. Now, we're playing in the color settings, and that's what it looks like with auto set, and I didn't really like that. So now here's exposure, and I'm just going to play a little bit and see what I like. That's all you have to do in your own phone. Brilliance, it's alright. I don't really mess with brilliance all that much, but you might find something that gets the right effect going. Now, little playing here. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. I'm not too stoked about that. But you know how it is. You just keep messing around. This is basically how I do all my photos. I just play. Now, if I'm doing them in Photoshop, I do a little bit more when it comes to, adjustment layers and playing there. But with all this stuff, you just keep watching what the word is at the bottom and see what the adjustment is. Black point is a lot of fun to mess with because I like that black look in the background. That makes me happy. And then if you go the other way with black look or black point, you can kind of get that fade. Now, messing around a little bit with vibrance and saturation. Saturation takes care of the really deep saturated colors. Vibrance gets more of the mid-tones. And now messing with warmth and cool, I want to leave it a little cool, I think. So it's going to be a little more blue than yellow. It's just playing, folks. That's all you're doing in the smartphone here. There's not much to do with noise reduction and definition and all that stuff, simply because it's a pretty clear picture, and that kind of stuff you kind of end up adding a little grain, and maybe you don't need to. Now I'm just playing with some looks, some filters, to see what I think looks best. Dramatic works really well when it comes to comic book type stuff. But you'll end up clicking this, whichever one you decide to choose, and then you can take down the opacity of the filter a little bit so you see what's underneath it, like I am with the black and white there. So it wouldn't have to be totally black and white. You can make adjustments and maybe leave some of the other colors. But I need vivid. It's Mutant Mayhem. It was a really colorful movie. So that's what I'm going with, making some slight adjustments here. And I think I'm pretty happy with that.
And there you go, folks. We posed with Mikey. We lightened up Raphael a little bit. And then we took a shot of the four brothers with the smartphones. I edited my own shot until I was happy with it. And here's hoping you were able to do the same thing. Now do me a favor and comment below so we can feed YouTube's almighty algorithm with what you'd like to see next in Toypixx's toy photography tutorials. Nailed it. Thank you very much for taking the time to check out this video. As longtime subscribers know, that is always massively appreciated. So until next time, have fun and happy snapping. See ya. Okay, the weird part is I don't usually get figures like these, but since I bought them, I've been on Amazon like a madman looking up all the Mutant Mayhem stuff. I've been looking up the sewer playset. I've been looking up the pizza van. I've been looking up all the villains. Ladies and gentlemen, collecting, it's a disease. That's why I get to take pictures with all this stuff. That way, I feel like it's an art. Yeah. Go justification.